Welcome back to Aloft. Today I'm going to share with you a few tips and tricks on how to improve and make your dip nail powder look good. I mainly use the Nailboo products, but the tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you today applies to all brands that have dip powder products. So let's get into it. So before you even start to apply any base coat or powder, the first thing you need to do is push your cuticles back to give yourself room to apply the product. You will also need to buff or file the top of your nails to make them gritty so that the products stick. Then you'll dehydrate your nail bed using either acetone, alcohol, or a cleanser, which I purchased in this professional remover kit by Onyx. Once you have dehydrated your nails using some type of lint-free wipe or even a paper towel, the next step is the base coat and base powder. So before you start with your base powder, it's best to roll it instead of shaking it. Just slightly roll it to loosen up the powder before you start to apply it. When applying the base coat, be sure to apply it over your nail, but avoid the cuticle as well as your skin. Then when it's time to dip your nail, instead of dipping directly down into the product, you're going to want to dip at a 45-degree angle into the base product. Then after dipping, you'll either tap or you'll shake off the excess powder and then just move on to the next nail. I personally do 2 dips of the base powder, but the number of dips is a personal choice, so if you only want to do 1 or if you choose to do 2, that is completely your choice. Another tip that people tend to do is when they're applying the base coat, they don't apply it over the entire nail. They do, which is an apex method, where they only apply it to 1/3 of the nail and then they dip it into the base coat. Now, once that's done, you're going to follow up with your colored powder and again using your base coat for this step as well. With your color powder, you're going to follow the exact same steps that you did with your base powder. You're still going to roll the jar prior to opening. You're going to apply your base coat in between each coat. The only difference here is the number of coats of colored powder that you actually use. If you want a thinner coat, then you can use 1 or 2. Or if you want a thicker coat, you can use 3, maybe 4. The thickness is completely up to you. Apex method is not necessary for this step because you're going to apply the color to your entire nail. But again, you're going to want to avoid getting the color on your skin as well as your cuticle. When dipping your colored powder, if you happen to notice that there is some product buildup or it's a little too thick around your cuticle area, one thing you can use to make the indentation would be the wooden cuticle pusher, which has like the toothpick end to it, or you can actually use a physical toothpick and just clean up around your cuticle area to get it to the shape of your liking. If you're using glitter or even doing a French set, after applying the colors and the glitter, the next step that you would do before activating is do one more round of either a clear powder or just go through and do another dip of your base powder. If you're doing a set that has glitter, especially if it's the chunky glitter, one way to make that flat before you go over it with your clear powder is to just take a baggie, or as some would say, a Ziploc bag, and just press down on your nails, which will make it smoother. Then go over it with your base powder or your clear powder. Once you're done with your color powder, you're going to have to apply 1 coat of the activator. Activator is to seal as well as harden your color, which will allow you the freedom to file and buff your nails as much as you like. This step comes in handy, especially if you happen to have a bumpy set, which sometimes does happen. So this is where you can use a buffer set. You don't necessarily need an e-file. Once you apply the activator, just give it a few minutes to set and harden. You'll know once it's hard because you just tap it and you can hear the sound. This is a 12-piece buffer set that I purchased separately. I wasn't all that impressed or happy with the file that came in the set, so this worked out better for me, especially because my very first set was lumpy and I needed to go to work in order to get it to look nice. So once I apply the activator, all I have to do is just file freely as I choose to shape it, as well as if it happens to be bumpy, which this set wasn't, but if it happens to be bumpy, I can just use the blue and file the top of it and get it to my liking. Once I finish filing and shaping my nails to my liking, then I'm going to wash my hands as well as follow up with another round of alcohol using a lint-free cloth or a paper towel again. Then once that's done and it's dried, I'm going to apply another set of Activator. Then I'll let that dry for a few minutes, then move on to the final step, which is the top coat. This step is very simple. You apply one coat, you wait for 5 minutes, then you apply the second coat, let that dry, and you're done. But realistically, who wants to wait 5 minutes between each coat? I know I don't. So what I do instead is I'll apply my top coat, then I'll put my hands in front of a fan, maybe a small fan or a big fan, either way. But I'll wait about 2 minutes at the most, then I'll go back and apply my next coat, and then once again, stand in front of the fan until that's dry. Now, I do have to warn you that this top coat has a very strong smell. It smells like super glue when you open it, so you don't want to be in a non-ventilated area, and you don't want to hold your head too close when applying the coat. As you can see, when applying the top coat after the Activator, the top coat takes your set from a matte, dull look to a very pretty, shiny, glossy look. But if you're not into that super glossy look, then I would advise you to only apply one coat of the top coat instead of two, which is recommended in the instructions. Again, it says to apply a top coat, wait 5 minutes, and then apply another top coat. But if you're not really big on that super shiny, glossy look, then maybe only one coat will work for you. Now, a few tips in regards to this top coat when using it. Before you close the bottle, always, I cannot stress this enough, always wipe the top with either acetone or soak off or alcohol, because although you'll have a nice set, you will not be able to use this bottle the next time. As you can see, I have white residue on the inside as well as teeth marks on the top, because after the first time of using this bottle, I could not get it open the second time. I used my teeth, my husband used grips, we used pliers, and then we finally got it open. But I did learn, use acetone or alcohol after you use the top coat and you'll be able to open it the next time. I don't know why this isn't mentioned or included in the instructions, but the cleaner bottle is actually used to help you clean your brushes in between sets for when they get hard, stiff, or have product buildup. That's what the cleaner is for.
About to go to surgery. Rollo Jones shows up to try to get the top off. Can't get it off with this. We done tried to bang it. We done took some pliers. We done did it with the pliers, didn't work. So then we had to revert to that's the only way we could get it off after a while.
He's a bit dramatic, but we really did have to use those methods, as you can see from the damage of this bottle. Thanks for watching.